Om Shanti. A new golden Bharat. What is it going to take for me to contribute to such a new land, a new vision, a new way of living? If we think of heaven, or we think of the golden age, we think of paradise, a place where everything is perfect. And yet in today's world, through science and technology, we have refined so much. We have developed so many facilities and comforts that enable us to enjoy a good life now. And yet, ... And yet there doesn't seem to be a sense of contentment and happiness. And so a big part of a new world is learning to infuse our being and our relationships with happiness, with love, with contentment. And as we start to feel that we are one, we create an automatic weaving of all our differences to produce something that is impossible. Within the foundation of ruling, self-rule is perhaps the most important aspect, because we know that all creation begins from the subtle, and the subtle lies in our thinking, lies in our vision, and it lies in our attitude. And today there's one particular habit or sanskar I'd like to take up that needs to be transformed in order to be able to reclaim our sense of self-control again, to be able to become masters and make the choices we need to that define our destiny. And that habit or sanskar, you'll be very familiar with it, is the habit of rushing. Somehow, for many decades, our society, our ways of being with each other, our ways of doing things have speeded up. And somehow we've bought into this belief that if we go faster, we will achieve more. And yet, there's an old Chinese proverb that says, one moment of patience can breed a lot of fruit, and one moment of impatience can bring about disaster. We've all experienced in our relationships when we've been impatient with each other. We will speak things, say things that we can't take back again, and they leave behind an energy in people's hearts. Somehow, with the advent of technology, we've bought into the illusion of speed. Social media, texting, frequently texting, makes us believe that if we go faster, somehow it will compensate for our being. And yet, the time it takes for you to rush around and move between one thing to another, you may be able to save that time if you learn the practice of becoming still and developing a patient mind. You may save yourself 10 things to do, and you may accomplish that in 2 things if you were able to cultivate a patient mind, because with patience comes objectivity. With patience comes clarity. With patience comes a steady pace at which we can move our ship. Yes, there are times where you might need to move up a gear, but you're not always going to drive a car in 5th gear. There are times when we need to move down as we turn the various bends of life. There's an old Buddhist saying You should meditate for 20 minutes a day. Unless you're very busy, then you should meditate for an hour. It might sound paradoxical, but so often in today's world, people mortgage their sense of self to try and accomplish something, to try and achieve something. And as you neglect yourself in the process, you may end up achieving whatever it is that you desire and you want. But there will be a cost, and that cost is your happiness. And so can I not create a more steady pace for my life? Because instead of being busy and rushing around trying to accomplish everything, let me give myself that extra space and time so that I can understand what it is that I have to do now for myself and what are the priorities that I have to face in my life. It is paradoxical that the more busy you are, actually the more time you need to find for yourself. Because when you do invest in yourself, you become much more effective and productive in whatever it is that you have to do. This is where the roots and the foundation of the habit of a patient mind are developed in peace. Cultivating my inner peace is paramount to understanding how to go slowly. And when I say slowly, I often like to use this term, slow is fast. Because many things get accomplished when you actually learn to pace yourself. You know, when I think about why is it that we rush around, usually behind it, there's some kind of influence. I want to please somebody. Perhaps there's an influence, an expectation from somewhere. I'm trying to compare myself. I'm trying to compete with somebody. Or maybe there's a fear. There's a fear that there's not enough time. Time has a very deep connection with our thoughts. And when we learn to infuse peace into our thoughts, we actually start to learn to become masters of time. And peace is such a beautiful quality, because peace is what I say, my original nature. When you think about getting angry, can you sustain anger for a whole day? No. But you can sustain a peaceful being for a good amount of the day. And so what is natural to the self? We call peace our original religion. In Bharat, we use the word Swadharam. It is the right path for me, the path of peace. And as I learn to stay peaceful, I create a very deep attitude of neutrality. Because peace has a very neutralizing effect on my emotions. Emotions breed disruption. Emotions can breed distraction. And sometimes in a rush to get away from my emotions, I will keep running around and keep myself busy. And yet at the end of the day, you will have opened up so many books, but how many of those will you have closed? And so let's talk about what it takes to actually cultivate the sanskar of patience. First of all, it's very important to begin my day peacefully. Science has told us that the first 10 minutes of our day, whatever thoughts and feelings we create at the beginning of the day, set our mood for the whole day. And so if you think about a day as a world, And the moment you wake up, you're picking up your paintbrush and colors to start painting a new world. You're not going to slapdash it. You're going to want to create the most beautiful vision for a beautiful day. And so it's so important in the morning to give yourself that space to just be for at least 15 or 20 minutes. Stay away from the mobile phone. Stay away from the addictions of social media and texting. Because as you do that, you plug your consciousness into so many, many different avenues that you lose space for yourself. So at the beginning of the day, take a few moments to be with yourself quietly, read something nourishing, meditate, go for a walk in nature. Enjoy creating a mood, a beautiful mood, peacefully. And that will set your pace throughout the day. It will set your mood, but it will also help you to stay measured. And when I say measured, it means you won't let yourself be rushed into doing everything. Often in our lives, especially in the business world, in our day-to-day lives, there are urgencies that come up. But sometimes people's urgencies are people's expectations. But when something is really urgent, and you have built a state of mind that is patient and clear, you will be able to act decisively. And at the time of a test paper, i.e. an emergency, something that's urgent, you won't need to stop and think, what do I have to do? It will be clear. And the second step is that throughout the day, take a few moments to pause and have a moment of peace. And this is the beauty of what meditation teaches us. Meditation enables us to step inside ourselves into the purity of our being. And in that pure space of who we are, we rediscover our peace and happiness. So take a 1-minute spa throughout the day. Step into that inner ocean of purity and peace and let yourself be refreshed. Hit the refresh button and come back into what you need to do peacefully and patiently. And lastly, how you end your day. Clear your mind as you end your day. Sort through all the lessons of the day patiently and park everything else until the next day. As we clear our minds and make our minds light at the end of the day, and we go to sleep peacefully, that peace sinks very deep into our subconscious and literally changes our way of being from inside out. And so my deepest wish for all of you is that together we're able to slow down, cultivate a space of stillness and peace inside, and work patiently. Because in patience, love flows. In patience, newness develops. And in patience, there is victory. As Mahatma Gandhi so rightly said, if you lose patience, you lose the battle. Om Shanti.
स्वराज्य से स्वर्णिम भारत,